Hello, friends. Welcome to the Modern Masters series, and we are now up to number 7 of our list of the top 10 Modern Masters. And I'm very happy to have a special guest here with me, Kellogzz. How are you?
Hi everyone.
So, if you don't know Kellogg's, he is a very strong anti-chess player who's been around many years. He also does his own streams, so perhaps you know him from that, or if you don't, feel free to look at his play sometimes. And who are we talking about today? Well, a very famous gentleman by the name of Tetiksh Agrawal. So the young Indian genius, he has been playing anti-chess from quite a young age when he was a young teenager. He kind of burst on the scene as a very fast player. He was kind of a very strong hyper player, in his own words, maybe a hyper farmer, but he quickly got a very, very high rating. And typically, there's a lot of players like this who maybe they can play very quickly, but they don't have a very strong knowledge of the game. However, this man took it upon himself to actually learn how to play. And certainly in the last couple of years, he's proven that he is not just the king of speed, but he has a really amazing in-depth knowledge and has an incredible speed of calculation that really puts pressure back on the opponents. So what Kellogg's will do here today, he's got a couple of games from Tatich that we will analyze. And so without further ado, over to you, Kellogg's. Please tell us your insights into Tatich and his games.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to add that he's also the Bullet Anti-Chess World Champion and the Lichess Anti-Chess World Champion, where he consecutively managed to beat Preslav and Tugger, both very impressive players and a very impressive accomplishment by our dear friend Tactics, who is, in my opinion, definitely a behemoth of a player, and therefore I am a big fan. Yeah, I've picked a couple of games which I found very interesting. First of all, this game between Never Play West Anti and Tactics, of course. This is a game of 2+5. I believe it's from the Anti-Chess World Championship, but it could have been just a random rated game as well. I'm not 100% sure. No, make no mistake, it is a very impressive game. We start out with just e3, and we have, well, a lot of book moves. And actually, the first point that becomes very interesting is right here. Knight c6 is a blunder by Stockfish, but I would argue that Tactics does this move with a certain ID behind it. If you look up in the database, there are actually 22 recorded games of him playing this specific line. So you
And
can
and
count on
and
it.
and they're basically like such a common opening that gives chances for both colors. I play this myself as both colors. So I love playing this as white. But yeah, it's very interesting that what Tet usually does in his games is he's got to go out of book at some point, and he always chooses these very interesting sharp lines that may not be sound, but they really make the opponent think.
Yeah, and to add on that, that's what exactly what his move does. You go for a very strong attack, getting the knight definitely into contention there on c6, allowing for some squared, maybe a5 or some other stuff. You get a lot of activity in this game, and that is definitely what we are going to see here. So, well, we get another knight into the game. Breslov now returns with counterplay. Aesthetics has a certain ID, and you definitely have to be wary of this ID. And that is that our dear friend Tactics is trying with the knight move to c6 to take a lot of control on the queen side. And Preslav finds a very good counterplay here. I've highlighted the pawn here, which disallows to get the knight into the game. And actually, Tactics has kind of an issue as his rook cannot get into the game right now and is kind of stuck. And definitely when these pieces are coming over, Tactics might be in a real danger. But Tactics finds the absolute best move, A5. A very impressive move to find. I would say at first sight it's a blunder, but that's definitely not the case. It's actually the top engine move, and I've shown here why it is. As you would say now, okay, we go with knight to a2, and this forces Black's hand to start pushing pawns. But this is not the case. Actually, when you play knight a2, you can counterplay it with rook to b8, and now the position is more equal than it was beforehand. And as a result, actually, as you see now, Tactics has managed what he wanted from the first place with that knight to c6 move. He takes control of a large portion of the board, whereas white is pushed into a corner. Um, well, there are a couple moves, more moves played. Yeah, we got this, and then there comes another genius move by Tactics. So again, a brilliant move, but if you would at first hand, I would definitely call this a blunder, because you allow white freely to lose his knight, and what does white get in return? Black's pawn becomes stacked, and it's common knowledge that in most cases, this is definitely not a very good idea when there is an endgame at hand.
Oh yeah, I mean, we all know even in regular chess, double pawns are bad, but in anti-chess they can be a complete disaster. So
Oh yeah, that's
it looks like really against intuition, but as we'll see how it plays out, it's going to work out.
yeah, definitely. So of course, Preslov doesn't think twice and gets rid of his knight. But what do we get after that? Well, and this is what happens. So Tactics wasted no time whatsoever. He just played. Oh, what was the move again? Excuse me, b5. Preslov drops his bishop, and Tactics is like, I'm going to push all the way for a promotion, and he does so. And this is now he gets exactly how he wants it. And I've highlighted it here into the study. Look how Black has managed to take control of 75% of the board, and Preslov, well, can't do much. And we see that
And
even late.
also just to take note, look at the time here. Now remember this is a 2-5 game. Tetix already has 3 minutes. He has one more minute than when he started to Preslov's 10 seconds. So he's really banged these moves out fast.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I've selected this game. Indeed, Tactics is such a fast player, has such quick wit, and that's such a very powerful weapon of Tactics, and it shows in this game. Preslov is under relentless pressure already just by the time, let alone the position. Yeah, well, then we have a couple of moves, and what I like to point out here that, well, maybe the advantage is though that much in Black's favor, but actually, Black is already winning here, and that is for the very reason that with the position that Black has, Preslev can try and walk with his king around, but he can never get it over for support for his own pawns. And well, it's just waiting for disaster in that case, and that is exactly what happens. We get a couple more moves. Again, just the king being on the back row. And now actually Preslov moves back to prevent promotion to a rook. And well, here we already see that Stockfish had it all figured out, and there's a mate in nine. Tactics has found a different route. He first wants to get rid of the last major piece that Preslov has, and he does so. And there we go. And now, well, whatever Preslov does, he has to promote to something. And you can count on it that Tactics has his position well under control to finish the game. which you can see here. Over. Completely different game. Well, let's first we start with an immediate game-losing play by Tactics, a very bombastic move, already
He
made in
he loves he
25.
loves playing this so many times. He plays this
Yeah,
ridiculous H5, which infuriates people when they lose to him. But if you know it so well as he does, then it's always going to be a big challenge to pull it off.
yeah, he has like 500 games of this one in the database, like this opening. It's let's call it again a Tactics signature move, but
Mm.
that all changes in a couple of moves. Watch here. And here comes a very interesting move by Ivy. And oh wait, I made a mistake. This is the move. The bishop to b2. Now it's completely switched, and the it all Tactics can win the game, but Tactics doesn't. Tactics continues with a different line, and well, we are now here. Um, it's dead equal, and I'd like to point out this position. It's dead equal, and well, you can look at Ivy's position like all his pieces are mostly gone. He lost all of his pieces, whereas Tactics has only lost four of them, and the
And
position
this
is dead
this
equal.
is a this is a very common strategy in you're talking 0-2 or 1-0, where even strong players and they know they should keep their pieces, but it's just so easy to force the opposition to blunder when they've got so many pieces. I know Finns does this all the time. He'll just get down to like almost no pieces and just think, oh, they'll blunder. So obviously, Drag is doing the same thing, but of course, he's underestimated Tet's ability to control his piece cohesion.
Yes, that is definitely the case. And indeed, definitely in a time control of 0+2, I would definitely not recommend a position like this. Like there is many rooms for mistakes, many rooms for mistakes. But of course, it's Tactics, and Tactics doesn't make mistakes. And we'll see that now. So yeah, a Lear sort of Lear dead structure for Taxi Tactics. All the pieces still in the starting square, whereas Ivy Dragonlord has a lot of pieces already in on very active squares. But yeah, we get this position, and we'll see what Dragonlord makes of it. And what Dragonlord does, he well, a very logical bullet approach, I would say. He starts pushing pawns just to get rid of them, and that's what happens. And suddenly the position switches. Uh, Hang on, yeah, this one. So I'd like to go back a bit. Here we have this position where Tactics is completely in the starting squares, and we go a couple moves further, and we are here. And I've highlighted it with these lines that already um, Tactics takes again like 75% of the board under control, and White is again pushed this time into this corner. And yeah, it's just very impressive what Tactics managed to do here. Then we get a couple more moves. Um, yeah, and again, now comes a very interesting point. Here, this is again a very interesting point. So, Tactics, where he had all his pieces in the starting squares. Now he already got a pawn here to promote to something to help out, whereas Ivy still has to walk a couple of squares and getting there with a pawn. Tactics is already waiting with still a rook and the king to well, connect the pieces to make a bridge to capture all the pieces
Yeah, this
if
is
Ivy
this is
has
a
to promote.
very instructive position. I'm glad that Kellogg's has highlighted this because I've seen a lot of end games here, and again, there's low time. So you might think, well, hang on, is this kind of equal? Like, surely white's only got a king pawn, can get rid of it quickly, black can blunder. But if you know what you're doing, and exactly what he said, to build that bridge. So obviously, rook and bishop, knight are dangerous things to promote to, but stopping the king is kind of difficult. But you can see, as Kellogg's is about to show, how we can build that bridge over. So even if white promotes the king, black will still win.
Yeah. Well, and we see that in a if it wants to move. There we go. Yeah, obviously Tactics promotes getting a second rook into the game, which is of course very powerful. And this is where we are. Um, Dragon Lord King can't do much. Like it can support its own pawn, and it can wiggle up around a bit, but it's just waiting for disaster to happen, and that's exactly what happens. As I highlighted a few pieces here, they are very perfectly positioned. Also with this rook here, um, just to create a bridge, and whatever white promotes to is not helping. Then we get as I said here, and of course that explains this very logically. Here Ivy tries something a very good idea, like getting this piece into of from behind the pawn, so that you know Tactics also has to promote another pawn, but don't you worry, Tactics has found a solution. And this here it was very tricky because like here we are dead equal, but it's like it's insanely difficult to find with also in this kind of bullet time controls, only 19 seconds on the clock for Ivy. Yeah, it's very tricky. No matter, Tactics has an idea here. He uses his rook to defend his pawns and to slowly get to the other side of the board. There we go. And well, there you go. It's over.
Yeah, it's
And I want more would like to highlight, look at the time. That is just one the weapon of Tactics. Look at 3 seconds for Ivy and Tactics almost 35 seconds. It's insane.
yeah, he just always puts that clock pressure on, and he does know his endings. You can see like it was a beautiful finish to the game. So there you have it. Two spectacular games, a long one and a quick one from the Indian Master. All right, so thank you so much for joining us, Kellogg's. And one final thing I think you wanted to talk about was this year, in fact, for most years, he's been running the over-the-board Amsterdam tournament. So if you want to quickly have a big spiel about that.
Yeah, definitely. Like guys, this is the fifth time that I'm organizing this, and well, that calls for celebrations. I would like to invite everyone to well clear your schedules and come over to Amsterdam, as we want to make it the most successful one to date. Even the national media will be there. They will be taking interviews, and we just want to make it one hell of a party. And just to celebrate the achievement for this lovely community that is Antichess.
So if
It's
you're
on the 6th and 7th of June, by the way.
Wonderful. So if you're anywhere around the world and you can get there if you can. I wish I could. So thanks so much for joining me, Kellogg's, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video and the next Modern Masters.